Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great most honorable well, and shalom to all the brothers doing the work in Syrian truth. Saw this article on the Guardian, and it's interesting because you had a law pass, I think late last year. I believe it should say it somewhere down here. Didn't even specify. Didn't even specify exactly when. But it was passed previously in the UK, Online Safety Act. And it basically is meant to be addressing social media platforms. So obviously, YouTube's going to be counted among it. And essentially would be setting rules for how they would have to enforce on their platform, dealing with, online hate or whatever, all these different words they use, where it's basically, people threatening people with violence, people, saying hateful things, racism, etc. All these things, it's basically meant to be used to basically give that rule set, and then the company, so like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, would have to comply with them, or if they don't comply, they get fined. So this is on the Guardian. It says Online Safety Act not fit for purpose after far-right riots, says Sadiq Khan. So with, you've had in the UK for like the last week, really, a lot of these, this British and nationals, let's say, these Brits over here, popping off and, smashing shit up, getting sticky, getting messy with people over here. And then there's been, the reaction on the other side of people also doing the inverse, going out and fucking them up. A lot of Elam going out there and contending with them out there. And those, clips posted of, white boys smashing shit up. And a lot of them is just general writing. It's not really about any kind of particular issue. A lot of these guys, especially the younger guys, they're just out there just doing whatever. The older guys might feel like, oh, we need our country, but they're just, they're going out smashing shit up. But obviously it's done under, because of the guys it's done under, then, the hate speech, etc. is under the microscope. And then in the UK they have laws over here where those things, it's not like in the US where they have freedom of speech to a greater degree. Over here, you say certain things, they can throw your ass in jail, they can fine you, they can fuck your life up off that. So for this was meant to be enforcing it online. And over here as well, you've had a few people arrested off the back of saying things online. Yeah, there's this article here. Chester woman 55 arrested over false posts about Southport murders. Woman arrested on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred as police warn of misinformation. So yeah, over here they have laws, they have those things set in stone. So it's like you say certain things online, you talk about particular groups, then they can just come to your house, grab you up, throw your ass in jail. Which, this old biddy's been well, she ain't even that old, been thrown in jail. But so as far as how it functions over here, the way it functions over here is it'll be different to over in the Americas. And then when, depending on the wording that goes into that law, they can apply it broadly. So reading on in the original article, it says what Sadiq Khan, one of the UK's most senior Muslim politicians said ministers should act very, very quickly to review the Online Safety Act after the violent unrest in England and Belfast over the past week. There have been calls to hasten the Act's implementation. His comments came after the owner of X, Elon Musk, escalated his attacks on the Labour government, sharing a fake Telegraph article on his social media platform claiming Keir Starmer was considering sending far-right rioters to emergency detainment camps in the Falklands. And it was posted by, co-leader of Britain First, which is one of those groups that are basically about we need to get Britain for the British again. But the funny side of this is that it was a bogus article. But then with the way that the UK, the prisons over here have been at full capacity for a while, and then with these riots going on, there's so many videos, pictures, whatever, of people in the midst of doing smashing up shops. A lot of it is just looting. Same with 2011 with the Mark Duggan riot you had, where Jake was going out there. They said it was about this Jake being shot, but he had people going up in Foot Locker, going up in JD Sports, and taking crepes, trainers, sneakers. And then, off the back of that, a bunch of them got super prison time. So you've started getting people getting sentenced over here. Some people, there was people getting 32 months, 3 years in jail and whatnot, depending. So you're going to have that pick up. But then, because the prison's already at capacity, them people are going to have to be thrown somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see what's done. If not, then they might end up just getting a slap on the wrist, which people will, that might kick up another fuss. Because old guys, smashing up mosques, smashing up people's houses, smashing up shops, setting shit on fire, grabbing people in the cars, getting grabbed up in the cars and pulled out. So these things, it's it'll be interesting to see how it goes, because it's kind of been a back and forth, where it will go into later how, actually, no, it says it right there. So it said the post, which must have deleted after 30 minutes, prompted a spokesperson from the European Commission to say its investigation into X could take its handling of harmful content related to the recent England riots into account. So yeah, and it's funny, you go on with, let's see if they cover it actually. Yeah, so as I said as well, thousands of anti-racism protesters gathered across England on Wednesday, and then you'll see there was hella of these guys out here, they're saying stand up to racism, blah blah blah. The enemy arrives by limousine, not by small boats. But yeah, no to racism, blah blah blah, all that. That's happening the week after. And you've had, it's funny because you've basically had there's WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups and whatnot, where they've been saying, I think on Wednesday it was meant to be in in Walthamstow, but then they didn't show up in Walthamstow. They were essentially leaks of these groups where they're trying to get them together and get them to group up in certain areas. So Walthamstow was one. But then they didn't, they ended up not showing up, and then they had a bunch of they called them counter protesters, but it was a bunch of other guys, going out there that would have looking to fuck them up if they tried, they're on crud. But then with it, yeah, it's with all that, there's the whole aspect of social media to it, which then just looks to me okay, they're going to be legislating around this. They're going to be passing laws about this, where it might be if you message certain things, if they might, those back doors that they have with WhatsApp, because there's WhatsApp group, there's Telegram groups where it's meant to be anonymous, But then, those back doors they might say, okay, if there's if these guys are talking about, getting together to do, harm or whatever, then we'll be able to what do you call it, to actually crack through that so-called encryption, and then you have to give us a messaging, which, there's already back doors to these things that they've done for particular reasons. But then there could be more, and all those things I just look at. I'm like, see, okay, that could apply to brothers. They'll just try and paint it with a particular kind of brush. Because what it says is what followed a week of disorder across the country, whipped up by the far right activists online who falsely claimed that a Muslim immigrant was behind the mass stabbing in Southport. So yeah, they were saying like there was a fake name going out. They were saying, oh, he came by a little boat, blah blah blah. But then what? With all those things going out, it was people got whipped up into a fervor, and it was just like people were out going out doing a madness. But then it's like you saw, if you were you scroll through Twitter online as that was happening, that shit was wild. That shit was insane. And it really shows how like it could, at the drop of a hat, everything can escalate. But then yeah, a lot of these things happening now, it's all got social media tied in. It's got WhatsApp and whatever it is tied in to where they're gonna be like, okay, we need further legislation, because it's already been on that kind of thing before, where they'll say no Telegram groups and whatnot. But now, yeah, because with the law, it's basically okay, yeah, there it says. So the act, which became law last October, gives Ofcom the power to fine social media companies up to 18 million or 10% of their global turnover if they fail to take robust action against content inciting violence or terrorism. And it's so basically Ofcom said it was passed last October, but then they're still drafting up the guidelines, which for me just makes me think, okay, so they can add in whatever they want at this point, and it'll feel justified because of all these incidents. And because the law's already passed, but they didn't outline specifics, they can just throw in a bunch of shit there. And people it's not, because it's not even a new law being passed, people aren't really going to be paying attention, aren't really going to scrutinize. So, what he said, I think very swiftly the government has realised there needs to be amendments to the Online Safety Act. I think that the government should do very quickly is check if it's fit for purpose. I think it's not fit for purpose. Yeah, so it might, further, the squeeze they put on the social media, or the punishment. It might, and the thing is, as well, I think they're trying to say separate the Ofcom guidelines, and then have it where, rather than the platform needs to take action, maybe people take action. There's a few ways they could essentially, because the guidelines ain't been put out, there was too many things. They could do it in various ways, and that's part of how Esau gets things done. He does it through his legislation, and then these things. It's like, I think they said the what do you call that? The Online Safety Act is like 200 and something odd pages. Hold on. Let's see how many pages this is. I said even the thing explaining it is long. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's legendary. Okay. So it's 241 pages plus what's schedules? Plus extra details. So that shit is so long. No one, who the hell is even gonna go through and read the whole thing? And that's just, the general population. Change those being forced on or before these are changing. So they even said on the page as well for the legislation, there may be changes brought forward on a later date. So it's not even confirmed. That's just everything they have so far. And that's, how Esau establishes these things. Because with these incidents, with all, and the thing is as well, is all, especially over here in the UK, really in general, a lot of those racial tensions have been building for the longest. The way people talk about immigration and whatnot, like it's obviously the elites are the ones, they're the ones that hold, the power to bring in allow huge amounts of foreigners to come in and set themselves up, build businesses, develop themselves and whatnot. That's how they that's how they set this system up. It's a big melting pot, man. It's a big capital, it's a metropolis for everyone to come in and do that. And that's part of of how things have been set up. The conflict between all these different ideologies, especially with Islam, with the Middle East and whatnot, and all those tensions. These things, it's what they desire. And then it's essentially everything's heating up. Because what's the key prophecies? World War III and the MOTB. And with the MOTB, it's really there. And then with World War III, it's only being stopped by what? The angels holding the winds back. It's really been ready to pop off for the longest. So Revelation 12:12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And yeah, essentially with all these incidents, everything's going to be utilized to be like, okay, we're going to hit. So it's pushing closer towards, what's desired. Because really it's the Most High for the left-hand side pushing these things forward. And it's gonna hit hard. Yeah, once some legislations pass, they start enforcing, they'll be cracking skulls. And that's the thing as well, is people are gonna cheer for it. People are gonna cheer. Isaiah 10:1, it says, "What woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and the right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." Yeah, decreeing those unrighteous decrees, that legislation. Bro, how are you going to bring in the legislation? It's meant to be, based off some guidelines. And then, how it's been, October last year. So that's 10 months, and they still ain't even specified what it is, and then they can just change it after. So you could have been doing something online, and then now it's actually just it becomes illegal, and you don't even know. Them man said one thing when they passed it, then they bring it in as another. But that's that's how the system runs, confusion. And that's with whenever these these events happen, these incidents happen. The same thing with C-19. Over the course of the pandemic, they pass all kinds of laws where it's like, oh, it's such a dire situation, it needs to be done. But then afterwards, what happened? Those laws didn't disintegrate. They're still there. It's just like the hell is it called? Or always go back to the Patriot Act. They ain't going nowhere ever. 1 Thessalonians 5:1, it says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." And yeah, that's really how these things are coming. There's people where they're kind of like shocked, like, oh my God. How is it that this why are all these people out here, this hooliganism? All of a sudden it's dangerous for me to be going out there. But then what's the reality? These things have been stirring for a while. And the real issue is Life's fucked for these men. The economy's fucked for these men. The job, the opportunities in life are fucked for these men. And they have feeling being British, they think there's a certain something they've been promised. But as far as for their elites, they don't give a flying fuck about them. They're not counted in. They're not getting a slice of the pie. They're not significant. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. That's really has hit, and it's going to continue to hit. When them laws pass, and that's the thing, it's like even when it really is going to come to when the MOTB is instated, it's going to be in a situation where people are going to clamor for it. They're going to love it. They're going to desire it. They're going to do everything in their power to receive it. And that's, how wild things are going to get. Because imagine now, under this, it's like, talk to people, it's like, damn, they're like, yeah, be careful going out. Like, damn, they really, like, people would have probably just been thinking, like, they could be that at ease when they're out and about. But that's the reality is that illusion, it was always an illusion. And they're going to find out more and more, Reality is stranger than fiction, that's the saying. But I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shem Shalom.